Mario, thank you for coming today. It's just a conversation, buddy.
Okay.
So were you able to attend any of our breakout sessions at the beginning of the semester or that first week? Either mine or Sharon's?
I think with yours, yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
So if you remember, we kind of talked about we were going to develop a rubric and some things like that was a small piece of that.
That's
right.
correct.
And we're going to try to implement this in the spring?
That's correct.
Those volunteers? Okay. So today's meeting was kind of just to show you where we're at in the rubric.
Okay.
And we have two versions, so if I can, and this is really just feedback, what are your initial thoughts on how this could fit into something you might incorporate in your classroom? We have a larger rubric layer format, which is the same that you've seen before, Michael. Where each one of these boxes on the left, right, are the criterions, and you could select one of, or more, of the criterions that best fit in any of the classes that you're going to run this level of competency. Thanks for coming, Maria. And then, and you don't have to pick one now, but I just kind of wanted to explain the layout to you. If I
Sure,
could.
please, because
Sure.
I remember that meeting. There were some questions about specifics. Yeah.
So at that meeting, we didn't really have a rubric yet, and I said that we were going to work on a common one rubric for everybody. So this will not have, this does not cover, this covers the whole campus, right? So I certainly would not encourage you to look at every single one of these, right? Pick one or two that fits in some activity or some assessment that you're going to be looking at. So let's say, for example, emotional intelligence. If that was a theme in one of your resource classes, or if active listening was a more important theme, or whichever one you wanted to pick. But just for use of
Right.
our discussion today, we'll just pick the top one, just to
Sure.
emotional intelligence. And then under that competency one, if you will, on emotional intelligence, you could pick any one of these three criteria. So one could be the thoughts and feelings, if you feel like you could actually measure that in your classroom. Accept the responsibility of choices and behaviors, which might be more applicable. Or identify appropriately verbal and communications across multiple cultural contexts. So nonverbal communication with a cultural twist. So of those three, and again, this is just for conversation, which one of those three do you think would be the most applicable to your area, if any?
And I guess it depends where we would apply this, and it has certain levels. What I'm saying is that there are face-to-face classes where we can see things, or the online setting where we can not see some of the things. However, we could, and so we can. Some of those can be implemented through Canvas, and Canvas will give us the some ideas.
Sure. And some of this would be very hard in an online setting, of course, right? Like active listening, for example. How can we quantify listening in an online class?
Well, having said that, I don't think, in my case, I don't think I have used Canvas to the full capacity. There might be some tool in there where the students doing what he's doing,
recording,
record and see how we can. But the main thing is how can we. Well, we have to give numbers, right? We have to give. We have to have a grading system per se.
Yeah,
go with that. And
yes.
So that's why I'm saying that.
Well, maybe it'd be easier if we look at on the next page, written, oral, and visual modes of communication or effective use of technology. So either one of those might be an easier fit.
Okay.
It's on the next page. So the first three, right, are written, oral, and visual modes. So maybe one of those would fit. And you're right, there might be a tool, but we don't want to make it cumbersome where we have to learn a new tool just to assess something. Unless it's important to the curriculum or to your mission in your program.
Or it might be an easy tool to use that we haven't thought about because we haven't thought about capturing this type of thing.
Correct. Yeah, it certainly could be, but that's not the goal of the assessment, to get us to use new tools. Do you know what I mean? So if it's important to learn a new tool, let's learn a new tool. But if you're just learning a new tool so we can complete this, I think we're missing the picture. But at any rate, just for our discussion, I guess,
Sure.
let's just pick this top one here. This demonstrates clear articulation of ideas, oral, visual, and written formats. Can I just go with that one for you?
Sure.
Okay. So let's say you pick that as the thing you're going to measure, right? Then across the top, which this would be formatted a little bit better, but we have a rating system, and right here it's shown as 4 boxes, right? The lowest being the first box, second, third, and fourth. We would actually have 5 boxes, and your level of competency, as these boxes describe, would be rated. So each student would get, say, 1 student gets that score, and then 2 more got this score, and so on, right? So, and that's how we would assess how well they're doing in this clear articulation of ideas.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So that's this rubric. I'm just explaining the layout of the rubric.
Sure. And we use some rubrics in what we have in some of the classes. Try to use most of the classes. And the key question has been, once we have a rubric, how can because we're going to be, we use rubrics for us to see how students are demonstrating that they know about whatever. But the question has been about how we can have a single rubric for every single class, but we're trying to find in Canvas if there will be a common space where we can go tap in.
Sure.
Get, that type of thing. But yeah, so.
And we hope to get, we haven't quite worked out the formatting, but we do think it would be very beneficial to have something in Canvas where you can just click and highlight, right? And then Canvas would tally the score on the different things.
And it does. However, when you want to, I mean, you can do it for a single class per se.
Right.
And then you get the, I mean, that kind of information back from the rubrics. But it's where if we step back in like in a program perspective but not class perspective, that's where I think we still need to.
Okay. That's a good point. Okay, so I'm going to write that down just so I can present it back.
I can see the hello. I can see the Higher Learning Commission then maybe coming and asking those questions. Okay, so at the class level, yes, but how about at the program level? That is where I'm.
Well, we are going to collect this even at an institutional level, right? So there's going to be several layers, if you will, for the individual instructor to get feedback on their own class. Are they delivering this concept well? Then at the program, are we accomplishing our goals of the program of delivering this example level of competency? And then also as an institution, how well are we doing across multiple different classes on the competency here?
Is the final product would be a single type of rubric, or would be a set of topics that each instructor will choose from best to better reflect whatever class environment he or she is in?
Yes, exactly. So it's going to be a single rubric that's going to have multiple parts, and then you and I and other instructors would pick parts that would fit best with their program.
Okay.
So collectively, as a whole college, we would cover the whole rubric in theory, right? But not every class is going to cover all the topics in the rubric. So yeah, you'd pick just the ones that fit best. So then, the other layout formatting idea, and this is the same topics, right? But this is a little bit a different way to look at it, is this key indicator box, if you will. So we have the same criterions on the left that we had before, and it's not complete, but it's giving you a picture. Same criterions on the left,